Hi, I'm Lisa, a 19-year-old college student who's had to face some tough lessons early in life. Growing up, I always felt like the odd one out in my family. Ever since my dad lost his job shortly after my older sister, Stella, was born, my parents have struggled financially. They never hid their favoritism toward her. Stella was the golden child, and me, I was just there. My mom never worked, and our house always felt empty, not just of money, but of love and warmth too. From a young age, I understood that I wasn't really wanted. Every dinner was centered on Stella, her needs, her future, while I sat quietly, unnoticed. My accomplishments, no matter how small, never seemed to matter. The only person who truly got it was my cousin, Sam, who lived nearby. Like me, he was the black sheep in his family, always left on the sidelines. "When are you going to realize you deserve better, Lisa?" Sam would say during our secret meetings at the old park between our houses. His words were a balm to my bruised heart. Things only got worse when Stella moved back home, pregnant. The house, which already felt small from the lack of love, now suffocated me with expectations. "Why can't you be more helpful?" "Stella needs us," my mom would scold, as if her situation was my burden to bear. At 16, I had enough. With Sam's encouragement, I made a decision that would change my life. "You can stay with me," Sam offered one night as we sat beneath the stars, my world crumbling around me. "We'll figure this out together." Living with Sam wasn't easy. He had his own financial struggles. But together, we faced the world as allies, not alone. He showed me that family isn't just about blood. It's about who stands by you when everything else falls apart. As Stella's due date approached and the demands at home grew louder, I packed my few belongings and left a note. I didn't want another confrontation, so it was brief, just enough to let them know I was safe but gone. I remember looking back at that small, dimly lit house, feeling a mix of fear and relief. The fear was for the unknown ahead. The relief was from breaking free of the chains that had held me down for so long. That night, as Sam and I sat in our cramped but warm new place, I knew I had taken my first real step toward independence. It was the start of a new chapter, one where I was no longer just a shadow in someone else's spotlight. This was my fight for a life where I was seen, heard, and valued. Living with Sam felt like taking my first breath of fresh air. It wasn't easy. We scraped by, counting every penny and sometimes barely keeping the lights on. But it was ours. This little life we were building was founded on mutual respect and support, not obligation or guilt. Our break came unexpectedly. One chilly evening, Sam got a call. I watched his face shift from confusion to shock and then to relief. His late grandparents, whom he spoke of with such love, had left him a small inheritance and a house in a quiet part of town. "We're moving, Lisa," he said, his voice light with disbelief. "And hey, no more leaky faucets or creepy landlords." He tried to joke, but I could see the tears in his eyes. Sam had always been the strong one, but I knew how much this meant to him. Security, something he'd given me when I had none. With his inheritance, we moved into the house. It was old and needed work, but it was more space than we'd ever dreamed of. While Sam worked on fixing it up, I threw myself into my studies. The scholarship I'd earned felt like my ticket to a future I never thought I could have. A degree, a career, and maybe one day, a way to help others like us. I worked part-time at a local cafe, managing to contribute to our modest budget. During breaks, I'd sit in the back with my textbooks, studying over cups of leftover coffee. Mrs. Johnson, the cafe owner, took a liking to me. "Keep hitting those books, Lisa. You're going places," she'd say, her words fueling my fire. Our life wasn't luxurious, but it was ours. We had movie nights, laughing over spilled popcorn, and deep conversations about our futures. Sam wasn't just my cousin, he was my partner in this journey. One evening, as I looked around at our mismatched furniture and the walls we'd painted ourselves, I realized how far I'd come. From a house where I felt like a stranger, to a home where I was an essential part. I was no longer the unwanted child. I was a woman carving out a life for herself, with a cousin who believed in me when no one else did. This new life wasn't just about survival, it was about thriving. As I closed my books late one night, preparing for another round of exams, I felt a surge of pride. Sam and I had defied the odds, carving out a small piece of happiness. No matter what challenges lay ahead, I knew we were ready to face them together. The day Stella reached out came as a surprise. We hadn't spoken in a while, and her message had a warmth and nostalgia that was a stark contrast to the coldness of our last interactions. "Hey Lisa, I've missed you. Can we meet? I'd love to catch up," her message read. Perhaps naively, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, things could be different now. Motivated by a mix of curiosity and a longing for some semblance of familial connection, I agreed. As I approached the house, everything looked the same, but the emotions it stirred were different. Apprehension mixed with familiarity. Stepping inside, the familiar smells and sights brought a strange sense of comfort. Stella greeted me with a hug more affectionate than I was used to. "It's so good to see you, Lisa. Thanks for coming," she said, her voice seemingly sincere. The evening began pleasantly enough, small talk and shared memories. It almost felt like old times, and for a brief moment I let my guard down. But as we sat down for dinner, the atmosphere shifted. I could sense there was an agenda lurking beneath the surface. "You know, Lisa, we've been struggling a lot lately," Stella started, her tone taking on a calculated edge. "Mom and Dad are really behind on rent, and we thought, maybe you could help." Their eyes were all on me, expectant, as if I somehow owed them this. The request hit me hard. After all the years of neglect and favoritism, they now wanted my help because they assumed I could afford it. "I'm sorry, but I can't do that," I replied, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside. Mom's face hardened, her tone turning sharp. "After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? By abandoning your family?" Her accusation felt like a slap in the face. "Everything you've done," I retorted, barely holding back the frustration. "I was never part of this family the way Stella was. How can you ask this of me?" The dinner ended abruptly. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. "I think I should go," I said, the finality in my voice mirroring the finality of my decision. As I walked out and closed the door behind me, it felt like more than just leaving the house. I was walking away from the manipulative ties they had tried to wrap around me once again. On the drive back, my emotions were a tangled mess. There was clarity in what had happened, but it was bittersweet. I was free from their expectations, but painfully aware of the deep rift that now lay between us. When I got home, Sam was waiting, ready to listen. "I told them no, Sam," I began, the words tumbling out. He nodded, his expression understanding, offering the comfort I needed. We sat on our old couch, one of the few relics from his grandparents, and I poured out everything. "It's like every time I think we might be able to be a family, they show their true colors," I said, feeling a familiar sting of tears. "You did what you had to do, Lisa. You can't keep setting yourself on fire to keep others warm," Sam said softly. His words were simple but profound, and they helped calm the turmoil inside me. That night, I lay awake, reflecting on everything. The false hope of reconciliation was just another reminder of why I had left in the first place. I realized then that my independence wasn't just about putting physical distance between me and my family. It was about emotional and financial independence too. Sam and I had built a life of mutual support, and I wasn't about to trade that for a family that only saw me as a means to an end. In the weeks that followed, Sam and I focused on our future. He had recently been approached by a local school to help direct their annual musical, a passion project that was both exciting and daunting. His enthusiasm was contagious. We spent evenings discussing set designs and audition plans. "I think this could be a big thing for me, Lisa, and I want you to be part of it every step of the way," Sam shared one night, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "And I will be, Sam, just like you've always been there for me," I promised, feeling proud of the man who had stood by me through it all. That painful encounter with my family had become a catalyst for deeper reflections on my own life and aspirations. I was more than just the unwanted daughter. I was more than just a survivor. I was a scholar, a partner, and a friend. College was challenging, but fulfilling. I discovered a passion for social work, a field that resonated deeply with my own experiences. Each day was another step away from my past and toward the future Sam and I were building. We weren't just surviving. We were thriving, shaping our own lives. My resolve only grew stronger. Breaking free from my family's expectations wasn't heartless. It was brave. As time passed, the guilt that had once gnawed at me began to fade. I realized self-preservation wasn't selfish, but necessary. My journey wasn't just about creating distance from the toxicity. It was about embracing a life built on mutual respect and love, given freely and not used as currency. Reflecting on everything, I knew the decisions I'd made, however tough, were the right ones for me. And with Sam by my side, I felt hopeful and ready for whatever lay ahead. Together, we weren't just breaking free from our pasts. We were moving toward a future full of possibility. Months had passed since the dinner that severed the fragile ties with my family. The silence that followed was both a relief and a source of reflection. One quiet afternoon at the cafe where I worked part-time, I heard unexpected news about Stella. A mutual acquaintance, seeing the concern on my face, reluctantly shared that Stella had been evicted and had to place her daughter with a friend. The news hit me harder than I expected. Despite everything, knowing that my niece was indirectly suffering pained me deeply. That evening, I sat on the back porch of the house Sam and I shared, lost in thought under the same stars that had witnessed so many of our late-night conversations and dreams. The cool night air brushed against my skin as I pondered my potential role in my niece's life. It wouldn't be immediate. The wounds with my family were still fresh, and I was only beginning to build a life I could be proud of. But the thought of being there for her in the future, when I was more settled, felt like the right path. As if reading my thoughts, Sam joined me on the porch. I turned to him and said, "I was thinking about my niece. Maybe someday I'll be part of her life when I'm ready, when I can offer her something positive." Sam nodded, his understanding clear. "You'll make that decision when the time's right, and it'll be the right one because you'll make it with your heart." His support, as always, was unwavering. Our life together moved forward with a gentle, promising momentum. Sam's work with the school musical was flourishing, bringing him new joy and fulfillment. It was wonderful to witness his passion come to life. My own studies in social work were equally rewarding, and I found myself increasingly drawn to working with children and families who had faced challenges similar to my own. As I looked ahead, the future seemed bright with possibilities. I was building a meaningful career surrounded by a community that valued and supported me, and I was in a relationship that taught me what it truly meant to love and be loved unconditionally. Reflecting on the journey that had brought me here, from the shadows of a painful past to the light of self-discovery and independence, I felt a deep sense of gratitude and determination. The road hadn't been easy, but it had led me to a place of strength and self-assurance. With a heart full of hope and eyes wide open to the future, I was ready to embrace whatever came next. No matter the challenges or opportunities ahead, I knew I would face them with courage, bolstered by the love and respect Sam and I shared. This wasn't just an end to the hardships, it was the beginning of something new and beautiful. A life truly my own, shaped by my choices, my values, and my dreams. As this chapter concludes, it raises an important question. Is it possible to forge a meaningful relationship with family members who have previously caused harm if circumstances have changed? I invite you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below.